Drum roll, please. I'm kidding. Welcome back to Ceej Talks. So, it's been a while since I've actually been online, and let me explain why. I remember doing my last podcast episode, and I honestly don't remember the name of the episode, but I remember I did a podcast episode, and then I just told myself that let me go experience life. But that was actually completely wrong. If there's anyone that wants to start something and stuff, just shut up your inner thoughts and keep pushing. But anyway, I went and experienced life. A lot happened in 2023. One of my friends, closer than a brother, close, he committed suicide. Sent me into a spiral of depression that I never told anyone. I was doing actions I'd never do, and it's obviously not an excuse. And I was just hiding myself in my school books because I started engineering and never confronted those emotions. Around September, got in a relationship with a beautiful human being. It ended in December, a month ago actually, December 19th. And then, around October, my grandfather passed away. And then, in December, around the 25th, 26th, emotions, man. Emotions just started taking root in me because I wasn't really going out anymore. I decided, I'm going to stop drinking alcohol. I'm going to stop doing this, stop doing that. And then I was just left alone by myself, in my room. And I was like, damn, now I have to deal with who I am. And it's led me somewhere. In 2023, I was researching religion, but I was wishy-washy. But now I've decided to commit myself to learning the Holy Bible, learning about Christianity and being a follower of Christ. This past month, I've been doing a lot of Bible reading, and I feel like I'm becoming a much more complete person. Although I still struggle with things like patience. That's the thing I'm really trying to work on. And I realize it's because I have some need to control aspects of my life due to my parents' divorce and whatnot, because I never really liked change when I was younger, and I never really liked change in general, even last year. But I came to embrace that change is necessary in order to grow. But anyway, that's just a little bit of what's been happening. Let's get into the podcast episode. So today's episode is about growing into the man God can hand over his daughter to. I will really explain this topic more towards the end of this podcast episode because I still want to cover the society we live in, instant gratification, and hookup culture, and how all of this links into the characteristics you should take for yourself to become a man of God, ne? Do you hear that? Ne? But anyway, if you hear me paging through stuff, it's because I have notes and stuff, because I gotta organize my thoughts. So let's get to the podcast episode. So I'm gonna begin with this verse. It's Colossians 3 verse 23 to 24. Fact check me. I got this off TikTok. Boys live, men sacrifice, deliver on commitments at the expense of fun. Let's break that down. What does it mean for a boy to live? So from my experience, because I'm still a boy, I'm transitioning into a man until I utterly and completely believe that I can provide for myself without my parents' financials and stuff. Then I'll also say that I become a boy. A man, I meant to say. But I'm talking about this from a mental standpoint because there are still men out there that behave like boys and do childish things. So boys live, what does it mean? So in the context of let me not confuse anyone and confuse myself. Boys can go about life knowing that everything is gonna fall into place. Because when they're younger, their parents can provide money, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. But a man knows that he might have to sacrifice his time to work a job that he doesn't necessarily want to work so that he can earn wages, earn a salary so that he can provide for a family. And how the mental thing comes into play is a man knows how to create safety in relationships. A man knows how to control his emotions and sit down with himself and question his instincts and say, look, before I react, I need to calm myself down, listen to my emotions, and figure out the best way to respond. So instead of reacting, he learns how to respond and takes everything step by step. Meanwhile, boys, they don't really care what they do. That's why you get these like toxic trends, like if they wanted to, they would. If they blah 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 blah, because it's such a childish mentality. Because if you really think about it like this, it doesn't take two to tango. Let's say in a relationship, it doesn't take two to tango in life. You should be able to tango so well that other people want to tango with you. Jesus radiated so much light that other people wanted to follow him, wanted to be with him. When Jesus went to his disciples, I'm reading the Gospels right now, I'm in Matthew. Like when he would go to the disciples, when he was going to get them, he said, come. They came, because he's radiating such a light. He's tangoing so well by himself, other people want to tango with him. So, okay, let's actually properly start the podcast. So society, the society we live in creates boys. First off, it does this by creating broken families, because when you break the family, you are able to manipulate children, especially young men, young boys, into believing certain things. So how have families been breaking? I live in South Africa, so I'm going to be using statistics. So 2020 to 2021, the divorce rates increased by 13.1%, and 54.8% of these were initiated by women. This can be seen as, okay, look, maybe we have more boys than men mentally, because let's be honest, women only really want to leave a relationship when there's no safety created. We'll talk about that in another podcast episode. But essentially, once these broken families begin, boys begin to lack a male figure. In my own experience, once divorce happens, little kids tend to live more with their moms, right? And if we're talking about it in a little boy's context, now they're going to be lacking that masculine role. And unfortunately, divorce happens at such young ages. It can happen at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Key moments in your life where your father could just randomly come to you and say, hey, boy, come here. Let me teach you woodwork. Hey, boy, come here. Let me teach you something about life. And by lacking these experiences in young boys, they tend not to grow up with the necessary tools in order to grow into young men. And that's why we have such a disproportion in good relationships, because now that you're seeing your parents' relationship crumbles, your idea of marriage and whatnot, and you've seen how your dad reacts to your mom when they divorced, wow, when you thought they loved each other, then now you're like, damn, so I'm subconsciously, you're like, damn, okay, that's how I'm supposed to treat someone else. And then subconsciously, you start bringing up those traits in your future relationships. You start bringing up that in different conversations, and you start becoming the toxic person you never knew you would become. And because you do those things and you don't do the inner work and look within, you never heal, and then you just cause the cycle to continue and continue. And in a way, we'll get to why this is the person's fault, but this is perpetuated by this victim mindset. Because something happened in my past, I must let it control my future. Unfortunately, the truth is, I know from my standpoint, you need to place all your worries and anxieties on God and trust in Him that He will be able to walk with you and help you grow through this, right? Because you can never change the past. You cannot go back into the past and force your parents to love each other. You cannot force certain people to do certain things. That's also one aspect that I struggled with, like the control aspect that I mentioned at the beginning of this. It gets to a point where you also want to try to control certain parts of your life. So then you'll also start bringing toxic habits that are like, you're impatient. No, why isn't this person texting me? No, they need to text me. Then you start being needy, and you start leading from a place of, I need this, not, I want this. Is this beneficial to me? Is this going to solve the solution? And it's all about this victimization mindset that we have. And it's all perpetuated by the instant gratification that we get all around us. Literally, you can go on YouTube, Safari, Google Chrome, Firefox, any web browser or any web platform such as TikTok and Insta, and you can search for anything at any time and you will receive it right now, right? Also with instant messaging apps such as WhatsApp and iMessage, right? I can literally text a person I haven't spoken to in 3 months. They can get back to me now if need be. I can text someone from another side of the world. It also creates such a devalue in relationships because you can receive everything right now instead of waiting for it. And it's all this thing of the hunter mindset. The hunter mindset is such a bad thing. You should have a farmer mindset. You should be able to plant the seed now, wait patiently, water it day by day, fall in love with the process of cultivating your mind, and then continue. This hunter process of wanting everything so now is toxic in the sense that, first off, like I said, you don't learn patience. Second off, it's coming from a place of neediness. You need this now or you won't be happy. And this makes us susceptible to not live our trials completely. There's some verse in the Bible, it's Proverbs 24 verse 10, that says, if you give up when trouble comes, it shows that you're weak. And we tend to give up when trouble comes because we victimize ourselves and say, no, the storm is too big. The storm is too big. I can't handle this. Instead of telling the storm that our God is greater than you. Our God will not let us fall beneath whatever's going on in our life. It's also said that faith is dead if there are no works, right? If you are not going to believe that God can take you through something, right, through the storm and tell the storm how big your God is, then your works are dead. Your faith is dead. And essentially, why we need to start getting over this victimization mindset, which is perpetuated by instant gratification, and why we need to shift our minds to a more antithetical thinking of like, is where I'm at right now really because of my circumstances, or have my decisions and actions also led me to the place where I'm at? And this just ties into the whole hookup culture idea as well, because when people tend to victimize themselves and do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, they let sins such as lust and all these other degenerate things, like just kissing anyone you want, being able to open up your body to anyone. Let's say you get in a relationship and then you just, first 2 weeks, you guys are both naked with each other, or first day, you're sleeping with each other. And the Lord tells us, why be captivated, my son, by an immoral woman, or fondle the breasts of a promiscuous woman? For the Lord sees clearly what a man does, examining every path he takes. An evil man is held captive by his own sins. They are ropes that catch and hold him. He will die for lack of self-control. He will be lost because of his great foolishness. Proverbs 5 verse 20 to 23. Let me also make another analogy on lust and the hookup culture. Because of this instant gratification thing and the society that we live in that is creating broken men, which is perpetuating them to go into more instant gratified culture, because as an escape, they seek things that can make them happy now because their past never made them happy. And it happened over such a long span of time. They just want to feel happy all the time and not confront that sadness, right? This hookup culture, right? The fact that you can go to the club, you can hook up with a girl immediately. Damn, I'm the man. It desensitizes bonding, right? You won't be able to bond with future people in a way because you haven't restricted yourself to not doing certain things with certain people, and it devalues things. Like, I won't lie, like let me give you an example. Let's say you get in a relationship and the person you know slept with 30 people and the other person you know slept with one person. Is it gonna be more valuable to you that the one person slept with one person or the one person slept with 30? It would feel more special with the person with less, in the sense of now it's like, wow, they really held themselves back and said, look, this is the life I'm gonna choose, I'm gonna pick, I'm gonna wait on my future partner so I can give them everything. I may have made a mistake, but I'm gonna give them everything else, right? And also this thing of desensitizing bonding, it normalizes worldly behaviors. And how can you truly love a woman if this is the case? For love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth, right? Back to this idea of lust as well. Let me make the monkey analogy, right? Because in the verse I told you, Proverbs 5 verse 20 to 23, it says, for the Lord sees clearly what a man does. Look, let's put it like this. You're at a zoo, you see two monkeys having sex with each other. There's a third monkey. The third monkey is eating his banana. He's looking at them having sex, coitus. And then he takes one of his hands and he starts willing his wonka. He starts stroking his almighty dragon, right? If you as a bystander saw that, what would you say? I know, for instance, I would say, that monkey is not okay in the head. Someone needs to take him to a mental hospital. So, in the sense of this, right? You can go home as a gent, sit on the couch, sit in your room, and watch two people having sex together. And you wouldn't say that there's something that's not okay in your head. And think about it like this. If you can sit at home and do that, you wouldn't be comfortable if you would go to someone's house and watch them having sex with each other while you eat food or just chilling on your bed. And because of this lack of comfortability, you need to understand that it's wrong, because inherently a lot of people that watch pornographic stuff know that it's wrong, but they do it anyway. And why I'm explaining this example and why I explained the girl with the body count of 30 versus the girl with the body count of 1 is because think about it like this. We as Christians, or we as people, tend to judge like girls for sleeping around a lot, right? Sleeping around a lot. 1, 2, 1, 2. But you as a gent, some of you guys are listening, or if no one's listening, whatever, some of you never ever had access to women, so you couldn't sleep with them. So instead you went to your phone, watched people having sex with each other, and you imagined that you were the guy sleeping with the woman. It's not to the same gravity, but it's a similar thing where your mind was still taking you to a place that you were not supposed to go, and it's still wrong. It's still sin. And why I'm saying that is we shouldn't get so caught up in judging other people because of the gravity of their actions when it's all rooted from lust, right? And why I say that is because remember, the topic of conversation was grow into the man God can hand over his daughter to. Think about it like this. Let's say you are a father. Let's say I'm a father. I wouldn't approve of my daughter being with someone that I know is very lustful, that is able to judge a girl for her high body count. Because honestly, we all falter, we all sin, and that is all due to lust. There is a difference in the action, but it's all rooted in lust. You literally, if you had the opportunity to sleep around, you probably would have. It's just you didn't. Like if you're a gent and you didn't have the opportunity, you didn't, and you just went out of your way and you jacked your Willy Wonka. Whereas the girl had the opportunity to do it, and it's all just based on opportunities, but you know that you would have done it anyway. So why are you able to sit here and judge people? Remember, the standard by which you judge people is the standard by which you will be judged. But like I said, why this ties into this whole thing is I really wouldn't want my daughter to be with someone that's able to let this broken society affect them. I do completely understand, because I come from a divorced household, that if you don't really look within, you will remain broken for a very long time, and it will seep into your relationships. I know that it seeps into a couple of relationships I've had, and I'm trying to overcome these trials and look within myself and grow. But I wouldn't want my daughter to be with someone like that. I wouldn't want my daughter to be with someone that's going to push aside all these feelings and move to instant gratification, instantly gratified apps and stuff to hide and suppress his feelings. And I wouldn't want my daughter to be with someone that just lusts and is on hookup culture. So because you wouldn't want your daughter to be with someone like that, why don't you become the man necessary to show your daughter exactly the type of man she should be looking up to? Because as a dad, you're an example to your kids, right? And especially like a lot of girls and their dads have a strong bond. You should become the type of man that your daughter can look up to and just be like, yo, I'm talking to this guy that gives me wishy-washy attention. And the way my dad loves my mother, he doesn't do that. He shows her, he respects her. He does 1, 2, 1, 2. He shows her the love he has for her, so that she can also understand that the type of man she's with, let's say right now, maybe he's toxic and following all the things I said, that she shouldn't be with that man, and she shouldn't open up herself to that type of man, So in this way, if you're kind of understanding what I'm saying, then how can you expect God to send a daughter into your life if you cannot become the type of man that's ready for his daughter, right? And I'm going to break this down again, right? Would you be okay knowing that, let's say, your daughter is like the man your daughter's with is messing around with other people, is doing this and is doing that and is doing that? No, you wouldn't necessarily enjoy knowing that, because you know that might hurt your daughter. But you can sit here and say, no, I'm going to continue to watch porn. I'm going to continue to not look within and instantly gratify myself and let the society I live in hurt me and continue to hurt other people. The saying hurt people, hurt other people is quite true. But if you're going to be hurt and keep hurting other people, how can you be a prime example to your daughter or your future kids on what they should look out for in order to not get hurt? Listen, all of us, like sheep, have strayed away. We have left God's path to follow our own. Yet the Lord laid on him the sins of us all. Isaiah 53 verse 6. The Lord went out of his way when we were sinning and we were casting him away to send his only begotten son to die for our sins, right? And it's okay to fall into lust. It's okay, because we're all sinners, and it's okay to want to push your feelings inside and try to deal with it in your own way. But at some point, we need to take accountability. We need to take accountability for the hurt we cause other people. We need to take accountability for our actions in life so that we can grow out of being boys to growing into being men, so that we can create a better society. A better society starts with its participants, and a better society can be created, right? A better society can be created if more men start making sure that they maintain their families, making sure their women feel safe, and learning the necessary things in order to do that. And it shouldn't be a thing of, why should I do that when all of my friends are doing this? Be the light, be the change you want to see. There's a quote I really like. It's like people keep saying in like relationships and stuff, it takes two to tango. It really doesn't. I said this at the beginning. Tango so well that other people want to tango with you. Radiate your light so well. Show them that, wow, you're living an honorable life. And then other people come to you and be like, how are you living this life? And you say, I live it in Christ, or I live it due to this way. And then other people can be inspired to follow suit. So in light of this, I'm going to tell you some man of God characteristics that have really helped me to change my perspective and what I'm really working on ingraining into my life. The first one is kindness. Pass in praise, seek opportunities to share admiration for others. Proverbs 16 verse 24. Respect, honor your leaders and consider advice of the experienced. Proverbs 12 verse 15. The next one is about responsibility. I've already said it, but it says, boys live, men sacrifice. Deliver on commitments at the expense of fun. That is Colossians 3 verse 23 to 24. The next one is discipline. It says, be measured in action, control your emotions, and question your instincts. That is 1 Corinthians 9 verse 26 to 27. The next one is strength. Shoulder blame and carry the burdens of those who are weak. Galatians 6 verse 2. The next one is confidence. Create rather than follow paths. Do not be dissuaded by critics. Proverbs 3 verse 5 to 6. Integrity. Live your values whether no one knows or everyone is watching. Proverbs 11 verse 3. Mercy. Life is hard. Be kind. Look through others' eyes before judgment. James 2 verse 13. And I really actually want to stop on that one. One thing we as people tend to get wrong in relationships is we like to make assumptions without talking to our partners, right? Instead of doing that, try to look at it from their perspective and try to understand exactly why they're feeling a certain type of way, right? And then after that, you can get clarity on the situation and then you can respond in a positive way. Charity. Live open-handed, do for one what you cannot do for all. 1 John 3 verse 17. Gratitude. Count your blessings, expect nothing, and be thankful in everything. James 1 verse 17. Honesty. Your words should be fact. Tell the truth even when it hurts. Proverbs 28 verse 13. Growth. Know and grow yourself. Attend to weakness and learn from mistakes. Proverbs 26 verse 11. And I also really like that one, and I just want to pause for a bit and say, That's why this victimization mindset is not really good. We need to learn from our weaknesses and learn from our mistakes. Because once is a mistake, two can also be a mistake, but from then on, it's a choice. And our choices affect our lives. Courage. Face anxiety purposefully, fearing only a future filled with regret. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. Dopamine. Boys seek instant gratification. Men practice patience. Proverbs 14 verse 29. Accountability. Boys shun responsibility. Men embrace accountability. Galatians 6 verse 2. Do not fall so much in this victimization mindset that you cannot understand that every choice you've made, even if it may seem like you didn't play a part at all, let's say for a relationship, let's say a breakup, like there's always two sides to the story, and you did in a way play a part to contributing to it, or let's say you failed the test and you think you tried your hardest, you played a role in contributing towards your failure. Take accountability and grow from that. Communication. Boys avoid tough talks, men communicate openly. Ephesians 4 verse 15. The communication openly is a talk we need to have for another podcast. The self. Boys are easily influenced. Men stand firm in values. Ooh, I actually forgot another one. Integrity. Live your values, whether no one knows or everyone is watching. Proverbs 11 verse 3. Validation. Boys seek validation. Men are self-assured. Proverbs 29 verse 25. And in contrast to that, a man should know how to treat his wife, right? Like, as you're going about your dating, because you should date with intention, you should date to want to marry, right? Love her like his own body. Ephesians 5 verse 28. That's why I also say, don't be so prone to fall into this hookup culture and being a victim, because when you do that, you don't truly love yourself, because you don't want to heal. It's not even that you don't want to heal. You don't know how to heal, but you're not comfortable with sitting with yourself to learn how to heal. So if you can't treat your body with its own care, how can you treat someone else with care? Colossians 3 verse 19, treat her with gentleness. If you can't treat yourself with gentleness and try to figure out what you're going through, how can you treat someone else with gentleness? Never treat her harshly. Colossians 3 verse 19. This is where negative self-talk comes into play. Never give yourself negative self-talk because you're not improving. It takes days, can even take months. We all run at our own pace. Take your time and you'll reach there eventually. Praise her. Proverbs 31 verse 28. You need to praise your woman, but in order to praise your woman, you need to praise your achievements as well. You need to praise yourself into understanding that you're growing as a character. Honor, Hebrews 13 verse 4, right? You need to be able to honor the people around you, not only her, but in order to do that, you need to understand yourself fully. Well, thanks for the episode. Peace out.